India is fast emerging as a global hub for smartphone manufacturing, and at the heart of this transformation is Apple. The tech giant has significantly ramped up its iPhone production in the country, leading to a surge in exports. So with the latest data showing India now accounting for a growing share of Apple's global shipments, the question really is what's driving the shift? Government incentives like production-linked incentive, which is the PLI scheme, increased local assembly by companies like Tata Electronics, and a strategic move to reduce reliance on China have all played a role. But challenges remain. Can India build a robust supply chain to support high-end smartphone production? What does this mean for broader electronic manufacturing landscape in the country? We will find out answers to all these questions as we are joined by industry experts. We're joined by Pankaj Mohindru, who is the chairman of ICEA, India Cellular and Electronics Association, and Tarun Pathak, who is the Research Director, Counterpoint Research. Thank you to both of us for joining us on this discussion. Pankaj Mohindru, to you first. Apple's iPhone exports from India have surged in the recent past. Take us through what are the key factors behind this rapid growth. Of course, schemes like PLI is one. And how does it compare with perhaps other smartphone manufacturers in India? And largely, what does this surge really mean for manufacturing landscape in the country?
Good morning. Thank you for having me here. Nothing happens overnight. This is almost an 8-year plan, which was unraveled in 2015-16 when we went in for a differential duty and then a phased manufacturing program to build the scale. I'd like to tell you that 90% plus of global trade in electronics is in the hands of global value chains, which are led by lead firms. Lead firms are like Apple, HP, Dell, Samsung, etc. India's export structure is not synchronized with these global trends. Our export basket is very skewed and, it's very unique till now. The plan for electronics is a very clear, headed plan, where we are recognizing that GVCs and the lead firms have a pivotal role in global trade. So that is focus number one and the foundation of the strategy. Come back to 2019, we were able to touch about 2.5 lakh crores of manufacturing, which meant that our domestic market was, and manufacturing equation was saturated. So that is the time we built the PLI structure. This is, as I said, this has not happened suddenly. It is because of a deep partnership between government, between industry, between state governments. It's a complete Team India kind of effort. That is why our overall production of mobile phone has lifted from about 19,000 crores, which was the number in 2015.
Right. So you're saying it's a Team India production.
Crores.
Let me take that question to Mr. Pathak as well, Tarun Pathak. Tarun, of course, this hasn't happened overnight. This is what the other gentleman just told us. But with India now accounting for a significant share of Apple's global iPhone shipments, how do you see this trend evolving in the next, say, a decade or so? Could India become a major global export hub for Apple?
Right. Thanks for having me on the show. I think very important, billion-dollar question. So if you look at, there are two things that are going in favor of like India. Like obviously it has not happened overnight, but if you look at, there are two parts of this equation. One is your domestic demand. If you look at from the demand perspective, iPhone growth in India has been significant in double digits. That was led by premiumization of the market that has happened in the past 3 years. and then you have export driven demand. So right now the number is almost like 2/3 of export and then 1/3 for domestic consumption. But what we believe, both these variables will play at a different pace in the next 5 to 6 years. Right now, if you look at Apple, does almost like 220 to 21 million of their global sales of iPhone, and we are already at like close to like 17 to 18% in terms of manufacturing in India, and this number can go up to like 25 to 26% in next 1 or 2 years. And obviously that will bring us volume, but we believe we are entering into another phase which will be like local value addition of the components. So this also gives a lot of weight to the suppliers, that if Apple is doing something in India, if they are localizing their value chain in India, you'll have more component players entering into the system in India, and that is what we exactly need for the next decade. So in all, a very positive thing for India in terms of their Make in India landscape, and we are quite optimistic on that.
Right. All right. Also to Pankaj, several of the high-value components, if I'm not mistaken, in iPhones are still imported, right? Can India build a supply chain to support high-end smartphone production? What steps do you think can be taken to build a supply chain for, say, components like, batteries, displays, semiconductors?
We are already, the phased manufacturing program is now about, it started in 2017. We are producing, I'll just list out the sub-assemblies and components which are being produced for the entire industry. That includes the Chinese companies also who have started manufacturing from 2015, which is a great tribute to India that, the most competitive and the largest smartphone and mobile phone manufacturer in the world. A lot of companies shifted production to India. Now, battery packs, chargers, adapters, headsets, mechanics, display assembly, camera module, all of these USB cable, all of these sub-assemblies are being done in India. And we have very large plants coming up for cells now, and foundational industries like semiconductors, display, etc.
Right.
So it is all about scale.
The supply chain for
It's all about
components as
scale,
well,
actually.
as we
You
mentioned.
see, you have
I'm sorry,
have big scale
we're running
and
short of time, but we will continue this discussion at a later point, sir. Thank you, Pankaj and Tarun, for joining us on this important discussion.